This episode of Invent America Radio is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King Broadcasting Network and has been bringing you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is Home Talk USA. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host Rita Crompton. Discover what's next for new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world. As Mike Rita Crompton talked to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today.
Hello, America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
Yahee! This is Home Talk USA right here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network. This is the Invent America show, because American invents. I'm going to take it from my co-host, my partner in crime, back from ASD Market Week, the inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton. Rita, I miss you. How you doing? Tell me about the show. I mean, you're all excited. I mean, we promoted it for like 2 months, you know?
I know. And we've already started promoting the next one. So we had an amazing show, and we are so excited to talk about it. It was... Everybody was so intense in getting out there and getting set up for it. And it's always busy. We had 1,000 square feet. We moved up several rows at the show. So we were in a wonderful location. It was just so cool. And, I've got a funny story to share about one of the products out there. The guy who's got an athletic training product. So, this other guy comes down to me. He met me last year. I recognized him. He says, hey, how are you? I should be down here. I've got a new product upstairs. And it's like, okay, howdy doodies. What do you do on your daytime stuff? I work for the NFL. Who would have thought the NFL was going to be there?
Wow.
Okay. So I start connecting the dots, and I go over to this new athletic training product. And I said, so how does this work with the NFL? And he goes, oh my God, let me tell you how it works. So now I'm texting my guy back at 6:00 in the morning saying, come down so we can show you this.
Wow.
He comes down, takes a look at it, and he goes, I want this. He's got a garden product upstairs that he's invented. So he comes down and he says, oh, we want this. And we do products like this. Okay, so small world, who would have thought? Now I go over and I'm making connections with another product, a tool product, with a guy that does Tolson tools from last year. He's got one of our products from last year. We've got several we want to show him. And he goes, oh, but I had this really cool conversation with this guy from the NFL yesterday. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah, he wants me to make these cones for him. And I go, well, did you want to come over and see what he's talking about? And he comes over, and it's exactly the product that we've got. So this guy that we want to license it to has already started making preparations for how it's going to be done. And we just thought, oh my goodness, the way it circled around was so amazing. That is just all because ASD makes all of this possible.
Well, you made a good point. And that's what the trade shows do. It's just, connecting A and B with C. It's a simple formula, A and B with C. And you never know. I mean, you never know, Rita, who walks in your booth. You never know. I mean, I've had some crazy stuff happen, and I've got over the years many sponsors from the shows where I was met you. I mean, here I am. Now, when I first started in the industry, you had all these home improvement shows. You saw, we started with 14 of them, 15 of them would be all over the place. And now there's only 3. And I'm still here. But the point is, I'm sitting there with my energy and, doing the Cajun swing and my hand going and getting all excited. And then you have these other shows. Welcome to the show. This is what I want to talk about. You're like, so people would come to me and say, whoa, look at the energy, how you express. But the point, it's the same thing. You never know till you exhibit and you get your name out there and you get your product out there. And that's what it's all about. That's what ASD Market Week does.
It does. And, inventors can tell their story better than anybody else can. So they get there and they start talking about it. Every single person who had inventory sold all of their inventory. Oh my goodness, that rarely happens. We had the one lady there and everybody had been on the show. I think there's only a couple of them that had not been on Invent America Radio to talk about their product. And we had a couple of them on last week live from the show. But one of the ladies had a new deodorant granule that is for health concerns because hers is all natural. It doesn't cause the breast cancer that all of the other things do out there. She sold 10 cases to one store that wants to private label it. She goes, I don't care what label they put on it, as long as they're buying it. And she was thrilled. And there was another guy out there that sold, all of the inventory that he had. And one of the other guys, it was a testing and he sold all of his inventory. So it's like, holy cow, everybody who had inventory sold it all. And I think there was only one product that we had and his price points were just way off. It was a learning experience.
Yeah.
And so everybody, learned, made contacts. Don't tell anybody I told you this, but the one guy out there, had gone to the National Hardware Show with us several times. He said, I had more interest in 3 hours than I did in 3 years at the National Hardware Show. So it's like, yay, ASD.
Because you get lost in the shuffle because you're sitting on an aisle where they have similar products, maybe not what you do, but you know what I mean? It might be similar and people, but there's all sorts of technology all over the place. So you don't get lost in the shuffle. Is that you don't get lost in all this mass of humanity or massive product.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, we're there as, Invent America Radio. So everybody knows we're the innovation hub right there.
Yeah.
And so they want to see what we've got. Like Stephanie has said many times, it's like everybody knows what's old. Everybody knows what's out there, but they know that everything in your booth is new and they want to come see what it is.
All right. This is the first time, though, I have to find out from you because I know you was excited and a little nervous. But this is the first time since we started the Invent America show that you were live on location, and how did that go? How did they respond, and how did you gravitate to that situation?
Oh, I mean, just normal flow.
That puts you in the big leagues now. I mean, that separates you now.
Oh, it does. And we had people that would stop and watch a little bit. I know, right? And you can tell we're excited. We're both talking so fast. And it was just, it's like, okay, we're doing radio. And I got my folks lined up and they were right there. They stood in there and we had the Wi-Fi all going and everything. It was just easy peasy. It was so smooth. And, holy cow, it was great.
Well, what we're going to do next year, I just wanted to, put your feet in the fire and get you going. But next year, I think what we're going to do next year is maybe we do all 3 hours from there, just do the whole thing, the whole show. From there. Yeah. And then when Greg Made in America, I'm sure I can get him to take a day off or something. And when he does his trade show, then we'll give him all 3 hours. What do you think? That way
we can do it.
And I think we're going to do that. But I just wanted to, I heard the replay of it and it was really good. And I think next year we can expand and just say, we'll just make all 3 hours. And that way we can get 15, 20, 25 people on.
Oh, yeah. And they had so much fun. And, we can get some of the ASD folks on to participate. One of the interesting comments that we had from some of the folks that attended with us and they noticed from the different shows was that the freemen are the ones that we have bring everything in.
Yeah.
And they work all the shows out there at the convention center. And when we are there with ASD, they bend over backwards to help us.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. They're so sweet. They're so kind. The one day I was out there, it was just such a stressful day and I was getting details in and I walked up to the electric guy and he goes, can I help you? And it was like I was going to burst into tears and he goes, oh, let me give you a hug. Tall, handsome man. That didn't hurt. But, it's like, okay, this will work. I'll take a hug. And, he's like, what can we do to help? And I said, I need to make sure you've got our order because I just placed it. And he goes, it's right here. I've got it right here. And, everybody out there is just amazing to work with. And it's so different from other shows I've attended.
Yeah. And I could see the energy and the difference, difference in the shows, which is, trying to get the companies out there and put them in the best possible position to succeed and get that license deal or get that, the company to start producing and sell it, whatever. Well, Rita, we're going to have to take a short break. All right, we're going to have, we're going to start the Invent America show coming up with a whole bunch of guests, me and the inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton. And don't forget the top of the hour, the Made in America guy back from the South America down in Chile. And I'm excited in his travels. So we're going to have the Made American guy, Greg Owens. So stay tuned right here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network. I'll be right back. Yay! Along with Rita Crompton. Yahee! Welcome back to Home Talk USA. This is the Invent America show because I'm going to take it from my co-host because America invents. Rita, who's our sponsor of the week this week?
This segment is brought to everyone by Aztec Washer. It is a revolutionary and innovative way roofing products. Since 1968, you know, if anybody's been around since 1968, they are doing it right. So seal it right, seal it tight, aztecwasher.com.
Very well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was taught by an expert.
Yeah. Where's he at? Hey, who's our guest? Start the show. Who do you have on?
Our guest for this segment is Rick Bunger. He is the inventor of Izzy's Counting Blocks. Ivy's Counting Blocks, right, Rick?
Yes.
I was thinking Izzy there for Ivy's
Izzy
Counting
is my
Blocks.
other granddaughter.
There you go. I knew there was another granddaughter in there somewhere. So you were at ASD with us, and you have got the coolest counting blocks. This thing. Don't tell my husband I said this, but he needed a set of these when he was growing up because the spatial and the numbers are perfect. So tell our listeners about Ivy's Counting Blocks and why they're so cool.
Well, the idea for Ivy's Counting Blocks happened about 7 years ago when my oldest granddaughter was in preschool. The preschool teacher sent a note home that she was having trouble with her numbers. I'm a retired optometrist, and so vision and learning go hand in hand. I'm also a woodworker, and I thought about the situation for a couple of days, and I came up with a unique spin on blocks. I realize blocks have been around for centuries, but mine have a slight difference. I cut them in such a way that, well, the idea is for 3-year-olds to probably 6-year-olds. Basic, learn their numbers, learn their colors, and they also learn that as numbers get bigger, volumes increase. So the 2 blocks is twice the size of a 1 block. And the other unique thing about my blocks is when you stack them, the sum of the stack is the same height as that number in the counting block system. For example, if I stack a 3 block with a 5 block, it will be the same height as an 8 block. So there's simple math involved. And so that's the concept. And enough people told me that it was a cool idea. Have you patented this idea? And I said, well, no, but I thought that would be fun. And so I did that. And then once you get a patent, there are companies will help you take your idea to a retailable market. And here I am.
And here you are. Well, I know the example I used is that if you set out as 7 and you've got 3 plus 4, it equals the same height as a 7. If you've got 2 plus 5, it equals the same height as a 7. And if you've got 1 plus 6, it's all the same so that they can understand numbers and ratios and how things fit together. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. So what did you learn out at ASD Market Week?
Well, I learned that my price is too high. I did get lots of reinforcement. They love the concept, but for me to sell my product online, I need to lower the price. And I was typical inventors. We have an idea, but we're fish swimming amongst sharks. And I got some bad advice on how the to purchase the product. And so I paid way too much for my blocks. And so that set me at a price point that is not reasonable. I sell a few at the price point that they are now, but I need to cut that number probably in half to make it for the mass market.
All right. Well, with that said, I know that they're out there and I know people were buying them at the show. So tell our audience, where can they go to find your blocks?
If you Google Ivy's counting blocks, you will find a connection to the website. And there's a website that I have a Shopify store, and you can order them online. In the Shopify store, the price is $39.95, and I'm going to lower the price to $19.99 plus shipping and handling. And that's going to be roughly $8. So I think it's going to be much more in the price range of a young parent. They can afford and see the value there for that.
So, it's a wonderful tool that kids can play with and they can learn, and moms can be so excited that, it was so cute and sweet and applicable to, boys and girls and husbands. So, you can always say, it's like, no, you can't stack those Christmas decorations this way. Here, play with these blocks for 6 months and learn how to stack that stuff. It makes me laugh when I think about it because, my grandsons are all a little bit too old for that. They're past it, but holy cow, they could have all used it when they were back in those 3s and 4s, and it would have done them well for when they were married and packing away Christmas decorations and china.
Yeah, it's a very simple concept. But
it is.
Simple can be powerful.
Absolutely. Really. So what's next?
What's next is I have leads from ASD that I need to follow up this week. I got great positive feedback. As a new inventor, you wonder if you have a product that people will want. And I had very enthusiastic feedback for my blocks, so I'm encouraged. I think there is a market out there for me. Probably the number one thing I need to do is have it tested for safety, because it is a child's toy. And so I'm going to do the testing process and make sure everything's cool. I assume it is, but you never know until it's tested.
That's right. That's right. Always better to be sure and safe than sorry. So that is, we will look into that, follow up with you, make sure that we know, where you are and what we can do to help. And if you need any of those resources out there that we have, that we can provide them. And, call us next time you've got a question and check in on what's going on. So, Rick, it was wonderful to have you and Peg join the family out there. You were just so wonderful and helpful to us and all the inventors. And we wish you absolutely the best with Ivy's counting blocks. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back with another inventor. And if you've got a product out there, you know of someone who's got a product out there and they should be at ASD Market Week. Guess what? There's one coming up in August, and we are going to let Stephanie talk about that. But more importantly, there's another one coming up in March, and that is the one that we will be attending. So join us, everyone, and stick with us as we talk about another really cool product out there that people just can't wait to get their hands on. We will be right back with Gene Moody and Wrap a Candle. Everybody, thanks so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. Done it for centuries, and we will continue to do it for centuries more. This segment is brought to you by Trimislab. If you need to replace rotten or missing wood, often found in driveways, walkways, decks, wherever, Trimislab installs incredibly fast, looks great, and it can be removed. So best way to fix rotting wood that's out there, Trimislab at trimislab.com. Thanks so much for being with us. This Inventor had a great show. Jean Moody with Wrap a Candle. She was out there and showing off. She had a corner spot, so she got to see people coming and going. And ASD Market Week actually picked her product to show off in one of the big display areas over in North Hall. So that was really cool. And, everybody's like, when can I buy one? Even my husband was saying, we need some of these. So, Jean, tell everybody about Wrap a Candle and why it is so amazing.
Well, thank you for that great welcome. I was excited to be at ASD Market Week. The reason that Wrap a Candle is amazing is that it allows you to have one candle base that doesn't get all warped and ugly after burning it. So it is a base that you wrap, rewrap, and repeat. And you simply just change the candle at the top so you get to enjoy the fragrance and the warm glow that we love so much about candles without sacrificing the beauty of it.
And that makes such a difference. I know the first time my husband was looking at your video, because I don't really get it. And I said, okay, look at the table setting right in front of you. And he goes, oh yeah, the melted candles. There you go. Tie that one together. And he goes, oh my God. He goes, you mean you're not going to melt down and ruin the table and ruin the runner and, risk starting the house on fire? Pretty much. That's the way it goes. He goes, how fast can we get some of these?
Yep. What happens is it's a waste. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of cabinet space because I don't burn my candles because I like to decorate with them. But then I'm like, well, darn, then I don't get to have a beautiful candle. My friend burns hers and then they get all ugly. So we have wasted space and wasted money with those candles that are ugly or not burned and sitting in a cupboard taking up space.
I know. I have a ton of them. They're expensive. They melt down. They destroy the wood. They destroy the table runner. You throw them out. They're only half used, so more waste in there. Besides the fact that, oh yeah, did I mention they're expensive? And now you can get the votive candles, the size you want. You can change the paper out to match the holiday. It's wonderful.
Love it. And we got a lot of great feedback from so many different people out at ASD. We also got some great suggestions or ideas kind of going off of it, which was wonderful to hear. And 9 out of 10 store owners said, can we place an order right now? Because if we could get them, we'd be selling them. So that was, that was so exciting to hear. That is, unfortunately, we weren't to that point yet, but to hear like, oh, if you were selling, we'd be buying, I'll sign the PO right now. We just weren't to that point yet.
Right. And that happened last year to a couple of our inventors and this year that, and that's a good thing to hear because you don't know, should you take that next step? And when you've got people placing orders, wanting to place orders, but the other thing is that, when you've got stores that want to place orders, now for a licensee to be interested in licensing it, they know that they've already got, orders coming in. And that's a wonderful place to be because we can negotiate a better deal.
Right. Yeah. It was great feedback. It was exciting to be on the floor. It was great to talk to so many different people coming from different situations. And just so much. This is how I explained it. It was like Inventors University. Over a matter of a few days, I learned so much and just soaked it in. And spending time with all the other inventors, we, share a very similar path. Some of us are in different spots along that journey. But it was great to also talk to them and hear their stories and, Michael's story. And I loved it. It was great.
It was a lot of fun. I know we had the young man from Canada join us, and it was so funny because he sucked up information from every single inventor there. and he
Great.
learned something different from everybody. And that last day we were waiting to get out of there, we had to sit there until 6 o'clock. He sat there with us talking
Aw.
and asking questions, and it was funny to watch him kind of grow and expand his message, because when he first started, it's like, we're not really sure what you're selling, Mike, because we're not sure that you know what you're selling yet. And it was like, he goes, I know, you're all teaching me so much. And so that's one of the things that we've noticed over the years, is that inventors learn
And continue to learn.
and continue to learn and fine tune your message. And, we've had inventors, the buyers come around and say, no, don't use that packaging, use this packaging. Well, it's really nice to know what kind of packaging you should use before you have 25,000 of them sitting in your basement.
Yes. Yes.
And that's happened where we had an inventor. He went out and ordered a whole bunch of packaging, and none of the store owners wanted that packaging. And he goes, wish I would have known that 6 months ago. So
Yeah. Rita, one woman did stop by, and she does a lot of training for store owners and all of that. And so she said, Jean, you have too much here. You have it so perfected to purples and blues and yellows. A store wouldn't want all those SKUs. You need to really focus it down to very neutral colors, and then let the customer design or come up with the other colors. So I'd never heard that angle.
When we did a focus group one time, and we asked everybody in the focus group what color for this product they thought made the most sense. And they said, black, brown, gray, anything that wouldn't show the dirt. But when they went out, almost every single person picked a yellow one. So sometimes it's not what they think, it's more what they do that makes sense. It's the same thing when you look at the color for your packaging. Look down the store aisle and what color sticks out for products like yours. And it tends to be the brighter colors. And so most popular, blues, yellows, we think sky, we think sun.
Two of my
Green
favorite things.
for grass. Yeah, for grass, So when you think, okay, let's start out with 2 or 3 of these, and then we'll let the store owners, pick and choose. My favorite color in the whole house is decorated with different shades of teal.
Oh, me too.
So that's, when we get to our wrap of candles, everything's going to be in teals.
Love it. And we got that for you.
I know, right? Because right now I've got a whole bunch of teal candles melted halfway down.
Yep. Unsightly.
Yes. So, Jean, what's next?
Right now, what I'm doing is communicating with manufacturers, looking for who could do the molding, how much is it going to cost, because that's where I kind of left off walking into ASD Market Week. So I am looking at getting my numbers down to how much is this going to cost, because I had people interested in licensing, but they said, how much is it going to cost to make this? Because I need to make sure. That totally makes sense. And so I don't have that number yet, and I will soon.
Excellent. That's excellent. So once you get going with that, and are you kind of looking at the idea of doing a short run?
I think it would make sense so that we could get more market research and have some more stats and numbers behind it. So that does make sense. So it depends on what it comes back with, right?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times we can negotiate a better deal when you've been able to prove yourself in the marketplace. And what a licensee does then, they look at your current buyers that you've got going in, they absorb them. A lot of times the price for the buyers goes down. They're not going to argue with that. And then the inventors, sometimes they'll say, well, how do I still get to participate? There's a variety of ways that you still get to participate if you want to. I get some inventors that said, nope, just send me a check. I'm going to the beach. And then others say, no, I want to be, part of this. It's my baby. And it's like, I totally understand. So different skill sets, different strokes for different folks. Some say, I've got a day job I really enjoy, just take it away. And so we look at, what that skill set is for everybody. And you had a partner there.
Diane.
Diane was absolutely delightful. You guys were perfect there together.
I felt like that too. She talks to everybody. She loves to mingle with people and learn their story. So it was great having her there, but we were beat.
Oh, I am sure everybody is. You know, when I say dress from the shoes up, that is really important. And
Yes.
you know what? When you need to sit down, you go sit down. And, you know, again, we were so grateful to ASD for providing us, you know, a good number of chairs when we needed them, and always there for the moral support. So everybody stick with us, because you have heard us talk about Stephanie, and she is going to be with us. She is our industry expert, our rep at ASD Market Week, and we couldn't do it without her. So stick around, everybody, and Stephanie will be with us when we get back. Hello, everyone. This is Invent America Radio, and this segment is brought to you by it is brought to you by Liberty Tabletop by Cheryl Manufacturing. Liberty Tabletop is America's only flatware made in the U.S. So for all of your flatware, dinerware, cookware, glassware, think Liberty Tabletop at libertytabletop.com. And just in case you didn't know, Greg Owens, our great connection to Liberty Tabletop and Cheryl Manufacturing, will be with you at the top of the hour. So for this segment, we want to touch base with Stephanie Beringhele. And I still don't know if I get that exactly right, but we know it's Stephanie, and you are our VP of Buyer Relations with ASD Market Week. So you go out ahead of the show and look for people interested in their products, and you make such a difference for all of us. Thanks, Stephanie, for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Always excited to be part of this.
So the big thing that we do is we have the Innovation Awards. And so everybody that goes with Invent America Radio gets to participate, and people get to vote. So we had a nice QR code there. Everybody could pull it up and go in and vote right away. The new product that won this year was called Snack and Pack. And it was, you know, it was so much fun. You know, it won by a substantial number. So everybody must have just been so thrilled about that product. And all she had was the prototype sitting on the table. And I know she was going after some, just like Jean is, some pricing and looking at the possibility of getting out there. But cool little product. And she could not be with us today, but we wanted to make the announcement today. And we will get Angela Kendall on with Snack and Pack just as soon as she is able. So Stephanie, what makes ASD Market Week so incredibly unique?
Well, it's people like you. It's a Rick. It's a Jean. So for us, I mean, it's the place where entrepreneurs come to make sure that they really explore their ideas and then get it to the next level for it to enter the market. So for us, ASD, for our buyers, it's the show that makes them money. It's the show that drives new traffic into their storefronts. So it's the heart. We're the heart of America too, because everyone's just trying to do this thing called business. And this is definitely a friendly, safe place to do it at.
It is. And I mean, and that's one of the big things that we've noticed too, is that when people have inventory, they sell it there. It's wonderful. And, you know, when they're there to get feedback, they get the feedback. All you got to do is, you know, get somebody and started talking, and they're more than happy to tell you, you know, price points and, you know, packaging, you know, interest in the product. So it's one of those few places where you can sell, you can get feedback, licensing deals. You know, there were multiple inventors there. It's like, you know, yeah, interested in licensing and everything from, you know, oh, the really cool one was the new diaper. But, you know, baby products to dog products and, you know, home decor and tools. So it's really a nice, vast arena that we go shopping in when we're there.
It's so inclusive, and that's part of the appeal, because the synergy between all the different product categories is actually seamless. And so you never know, from your previous stories that we had on today, you never know who you can connect with that's going to elevate and validate what you just created. So for us, it's just, again, it's that one place that you can go and you're going to find feedback, whether you want it or not. And you should always accept the feedback, because really people will see that and they'll say, I think I can sell that product, but I need you to make some adjustments. And if you make these adjustments, this is what I'm willing to spend. And I think that for any inventor, that's the ultimate. You want to see that product go into the right store so that, you know, your whole dream comes comes to life. So it's a good thing.
So what is the difference between the August show and the March show besides the heat?
So it is a little hot. We definitely recommend staying hydrated and all that fun stuff, but really it's just seasonal product. Perfume, for example, and fragrance, it's a hot seller come August because people are getting ready for the holiday.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that world really amplifies, and we get a whole different kind of buyer clientele that goes into that mix. So I would just say probably seasonal shifts in product line, but in terms of the core market, you've got the same buyers that are coming through. You've got the same exhibitors that are having that show after show on repeat.
Yeah. So we don't do the August show. We will be going back again in March. So if you're out there and you've got a product and you want to be able to show off, of all the shows out there, this is it. You know, we used to go and do the National Hardware Show, but there are as many hardware groups at this show as there are at the other show. And we've got them listed and labeled already. So we know when we go out there, and actually our folks that had, you know, that home fix-its, you know, category of product, we found, you know, so many licensing opportunities. One of our big one out there was Tolson Tools, and they are wonderful for, you know, giving advice, giving feedback on tools. And we never had that before. So it's wonderful to make those connections. Everybody, Stephanie, out there on these, you know, different exhibitors and different experts, we're more than happy to, you know, talk, chat, give advice, you know, opinions. And these are from the professionals. So your market research, you get more market research in 3 days than you do in 3 months for a lot less money.
And you have that peer support. And Rita, what you did to guide everyone, the free marketing, you utilized all the free resources. And again, there's nothing like being situated in a group where everyone's been at the same part that you're currently in. So the support, you cannot buy it. It is priceless. So I definitely recommend come together, be with your peers, learn, support each other. It all makes a difference.
It really does. And it's so much fun. So yeah, as soon as we are able to get in there and get signed up for the next one, we will, and we are looking forward to it. So what do you do, Stephanie, real quick in about 20 seconds? What is it? Why are you so awesome?
I'm a connector. So we're telling buyers from all over the place, you have to come to this event. This is a cannot miss event. And here's why. And definitely your crew helps us amplify that voice and pull in and draw people because new is great for business.
Excellent. So everybody, we are going to be talking about next coming steps and some of these products and how we are able to get these products out there now as the weeks go on. So you know what? Join us next week for America Invents, because we're going to have some new things to talk about. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.